Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Good to see you. Good to see you on this morning, folks. Kevin, all the way from Florida, mate. Good to see you as always. Evening for you. Mick in the house. James is there too. Rodney, morning to you, mate. Hope you're well. Ashvin. Jeff, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Morning, Alison. Thank you. Yeah, the team did well last night with dining out on what's going on. Plenty of interesting info. Yeah, daylight savings. Yeah, bring it back, or love it or hate it, depending on where you are. The old daylight savings. Shashank. Yep. Luke, good morning to you, mate. Hey, folks. Welcome along. Wealth Coffee Chat on a terrific Tuesday. Last night, we had our coaching and mentoring call. Hey, morning, Ian. Good to see you, mate. And Raj. Hello. We had our mentoring and coaching call last night, our mentoring show. And one of the questions in the chat last night was rent freeze. Do you think, what's going on with these rent freezes going around, or the rhetoric, the rhetoric going around in the world of newspapers and other bits and pieces? And thought I might talk about that one this morning because, it could be on people's minds. And I've got a few thoughts on it and a few opinions on it. And we'll have a look at some facts and bits and pieces. But, for most people right now, tell me in the chat, most people right now, let's do a quick survey this morning. Tell me in the chat, what are the top 3 things on your mind, let's say, which would make you either nervous, concerned, not buy a property, not take action? Now, most of you, if you're joining me on the morning show, you'll know most of it's, just a normal problem and we're navigating normal. But tell me, what's on your mind? What's the sort of thing that might be holding you back? I've got 3 things that I know. Let's call them 4. Two are kind of interrelated, but let's go 4 things that people are sort of sitting around waiting to find out or nervous about when it comes to property investing. Morning, Brendan. Put them in the chat for me, folks. Put them in the chat for me. What's making you nervous? What's making you concerned right now? And let's talk about this morning, because I'm going to talk about this rent freeze malarkey. Dan Andrews. Well, they always make us nervous, these damn politicians. They're fucking lunatics. But anyway, thankfully, they're not as loony as some other countries in the world. Dan the Man, number one wild card. Yeah, well, let's talk about that. All right. So, what's making us nervous in the world of and it's mostly driven by pollies. Let's face it, this nervousness. But anyway, what's making us nervous out there in the world of property investing? Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, let's have a look at this. Well, from what I can tell, I talk to a lot of property investors from time to time. So, the cost of interest rates being up, rates being up, and let's say inflation. And most people don't understand inflation. It's just a function of interest rate issues out and about, these sorts of things. Yeah, well, it depends on what you own and where you buy it, Raj. At the end of the day, property is the cost of owning property. The big one is your mortgage, right? So you have to manage that well. That is for sure. Inflation, interest rates, builders going broke, builders, not being able to complete. What's going on with these? And the last one, rent freeze. And that's what's mostly on people's mind at the moment. Yep, delay of a build. Exactly. Yeah. And so let's talk about sort of, what's real. Let's talk about what's real and what's not. Okay. And this is the sort of thing, what our brains, and folks, just listen. This is pretty interesting, and this is something that I've learned over time for a long time. The last 20 years sitting down with property investors and, talking about taking action in the face of some perceived uncertainties when it comes to the world of investing. Now, we need to analyze for real what's a real concern and what's not a real concern. Okay. For very interestingly, the conversation with some of my mentors who are extremely, amazing at what they do. And some of the science and the research shows that our brains, we humans, we make something negative 5 times more powerful emotionally and mentally than a positive. Okay. So we have a tendency to over dramatize something and under positize. I don't know. That's not even a word. Positize. The positive gets drowned out with small, normal negatives, which we make into bigger things. I don't know. Does anyone notice that? Give me a yes in the chat if they notice that in life. Maybe you know someone. Maybe you know someone really well. That makes more. It's the saying, a mountain out of a molehill. Well, our brains are designed to do that. And especially as investors, we're worried about things often. And we should be not worried, but we should be alert about what's going on. And we dramatize, as we go. Yeah, exactly, Brendan. Yeah, and, that's right. We've got to learn how to turn good things, let's say, things, we make the meaning of things, folks. That's what we do. We make the meaning of things. All right. So anyway, let's talk about this. A really good friend of mine who is Tony Robbins' number one trainer. He's the right-hand man, Scott Harris, awesome buddy of mine. Went to lunch with him the other day. He talks about the world of wealth, understanding normal problems and abnormal problems. So in the market right now, do we have abnormal problems? Do we have normal problems? And where are they in their cycle, folks? Where are they in their cycle? Let's talk about this. All right. Interest rates. Now, does anybody here on the call, do any of you think, and this is the market, tell me with a yes or a no, a yes or a no, who thinks that interest rates will go up, another, 2, 3, 4%? Who thinks interest rates are going to continue to go up from here, like endlessly? Like, it's watch out, interest rates are going to keep going up. Like it's, who thinks yes or no? No. The answer is no. So, folks, let's do this rationally. Let's do this rationally. And is interest rates going up a normal problem? The answer is yes. It's a normal problem. Interest rates go down, interest rates go up. That's quite normal. Okay. Now, when I say, do we think interest rates are going to go up? I'm not talking about a small portion of interest rate rises. I'm not talking about a 0.25% interest rate rise. Right now, if you put up the interest rates 0.25%, that actually is very little, if nothing, in the cost of money. I'm talking about interest rates going up another 1%, 2%, 3%, something effective. And the answer is no. All right. Now, there is an outside chance of one small little interest rate rise before the end of the year. But what we're seeing is we're pretty well at the top. So in essence, interest rates, it's done. Interest rate rises or major interest rate rises are done. And in essence, the call is they're going to go down. They will go down between 1% to 2% over the next 2 years. Okay. So that's where we are, folks. Okay. So that's where it doesn't mean that the cost of money needs to be managed or considered for you as a property investor. But, here we go. Inflation, folks. Anyone looking, it's the inflation going up is done. It's coming down. And, by all counts, that's going to be, under control and down pretty well within the next 2 years. Builders going broke. Well, folks, pretty well done. I think there's going to be still some shakeout over the next 6 months, but we're seeing already builders, many of the builders that we're working with are now taking on projects again. They've now got fully funded projects. They're back in the marketplace. They've got, fixed price building contracts with, small and reasonable adjustments if something goes wrong, right? So the builder issue, pretty well done, folks. Pretty well done. Because it takes about 2 years for this stuff to flow through, 2 to 3 years, okay? Okay, so it started in 21, 22, 23, okay? Pretty well done. Now, there's rent freeze malarkey, right? It could be, something that's on the radar right now. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, is it likely? Is it likely? And will it be useful? All right, so let's talk about that. The challenge is with this rent freeze, folks, can the national government, now this is what we need to understand about things. Can the national government force a rent freeze across the whole country? All right. Can the national government force a rent freeze across the whole country? Can they force a rent freeze across the whole country, folks? Tell me, is that possible? All right. Well, it's possible. Is it probable, and why? Okay. Can the national government do that? The answer is no, they can't. Why can't the national government just go, that's it, we're freezing rent everywhere across the whole country? Tell me, folks. Now, let's talk about this. It's unconstitutional, dead right. You can't force that. They can try and run on it as a political thing, and that would be the next election. So that's probably 2 years ago. They could. There you go. Shashank said exactly. Okay. And why not? Okay. Because, folks, ladies and gents, because, listen up, it's not national. We don't have a national real estate. We don't have a national real estate body. folks. We don't. The real estate legislation is the real estate legislation is run by the states, folks. They're run by the states. So here's what the state premiers have come out and said, right? Key premiers ruled out agreeing to the controversial rent freeze demands. So who remembers what happened when we had a bit of a crazy politician here in Queensland? And they said, all right, you know what we're going to do? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to charge all these damn property investors extra land tax. They're not going to get a land tax threshold in Queensland, cheeky bastards. You know, let's get them. Let's get these bastards. All right. We're going to jam them for more money. What we're going to do is we're going to charge them extra land tax in Queensland when they invest in Queensland. Because look at all these people coming to Queensland and making money out of our state. How dare they? How dare they bring, you know, money to our state? How dare they bring GST revenue? How dare they bring, you know, stamp duty revenue? You know, how dare? Fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, exactly. So they tried to make everyone pay extra land tax in Queensland. And guess what? What happened? The Queensland Premier said, hey, can the rest of you states, yeah, listen, listen, New South Wales and Victoria, can you guys let us know about the private details of people in New South Wales and Victoria? Can you let us know about the private details of property ownership in your state, please, so we can charge people extra land tax? Would that be okay? And you know what? Yep, they're right. In no unpolite terms, they said, piss off. That's brain dead. Brain dead. All right. Okay. And folks, this idea of the Greens being political bloody bullies, basically, you know, because they've got a few votes, is the same thing. The same thing. All right. Like, seriously, rent freeze, that helps no one. That'll make the supply absolutely, like, anyway, they should go back to friggin' university or somewhere and learn some shit, these people. They seriously should. They shouldn't be allowed to have an opinion nor be able to maneuver on these policies if they don't have any education. Seriously. Folks, listen, here's an idea. You know what? Let's have someone fly an aeroplane, but, you know, they've never studied it. They didn't go to school and get any education on it. They don't have any experience in it, more importantly. But you know what? Here's an idea. Let's let someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, who's voted popular because we like them. We think they're cool. Fly the airplane that we're all on. What a fucking ludicrous idea. But that's what we do. Let's vote in some people, you know, and let's vote in some people because we like something they're saying. And then they chuck their weight around and block things like, you know, the affordable housing legislation, which I think is actually a good thing. The way they're doing it, I would do it differently. But listen, we've got a supply issue. The bottom end of town, the people who can't afford things have the most problems, folks. And then these idiots are blocking it. All right. Anyway, that's for another thing. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. So, folks, here's my opinion on this rent freeze thing. It's bullshit. Complete and absolute bullshit. The Greens are just chucking their weight around. They should actually stop wasting everyone's fucking time and get on with some key things in this country, which are way more friggin' important. Let's face it. Yep. Anyway, I haven't had Fenton's back, actually. I'm going to go see him tomorrow. But listen, we've got an issue. I'm not going to talk about this one, but thin capitalization. I'm going to leave that one for me and Fenton. But folks, listen, we've got some things happening that are underway. we have got a lot of people coming to this country. If you look at the net overseas migration estimates, the federal budget, and many others have confirmed this. Australia is growing its population quite aggressively, and we're going to continue to do this. Folks, they've got to have somewhere to live. They've got to have somewhere to live. And I'm telling you, these million houses, that are affordable houses, these migrants aren't living in affordable houses, folks. They're not coming here going, you know what, I'm at the bottom of the rung. No, they're not. They're coming with money. They're coming with skills. And they're buying nice properties, all right? And if they have to rent, then they'll rent a nice house. They'll rent a nice apartment. Ladies and gents, this is something that gets me fired up, all right? So we have got a significant, and this is it, the high net worth migrants, okay? And here's your kind of top places they're coming from. I mean, this is not unexpected. China and India, huge populations, huge amounts of wealth and money. And, the other few places where the high net worth people are coming from, okay? And this is pretty important to understand. Okay, money is coming with these migrants, and they want nice properties. This is pretty interesting, though. The top end of town, the luxury market, your $1 million, $2 million, $3 million properties are selling like hotcakes, folks. Selling like hotcakes. That's even worse. That's even the quality end of town is way more undersupplied. Terrible English. Undersupplied. Badder. Shit, I don't even know. Anyway, it's got an undersupply issue far worse than the bottom end of town. Okay, and that's why we're seeing record prices being paid. There are so many things pointing to property, good quality properties, folks. Quality property, flight to quality property. Continuing to rise and making you and I, as property investors, money into the future, folks, as we go. Anyway, there you go. If you think we've got a rental crisis now, folks, let's look into the future, because we're going to have a real issue around then. But if you want to check it out, and I always check out the stats, listen, the rent increases have flattened out. That's great news for the marketplace. And why would it flatten out? Well, it's flattened out because interest rates have stopped rising. Listen, Greens, go back to friggin' school and do some economic learning, and then you brain-dead idiots would understand that you should be campaigning on a better topic than rent freeze. Go do something decent that you've been voted in for, not terrorize the bloody government not supporting things that we need. Anyway, I'll probably get in trouble for saying that stuff. But anyway, there you go. So, folks, this is interesting the other day. I'm just going to get rid of this. What I did see here is if you go and have a look at stock on the market, all right, this is SQM Research. I think this is one of the best live data bits of information we got going on. So if you have a bit of a look at this, the number of properties that are listed to go on the market, over 180 days has gone up. So, the demand's a bit higher, and it's flattening out, folks. Flattening out. We're finding a sort of where we're at, really, at the end of the day. But let's do this switch here behind switch to houses and apartments for the total property listings, view stock on the market when it comes to this stuff. I think that's rental listings. Let's do rental listings. There's more houses for sale than there is apartments, by the way. But let's have a look at the rental listings. How many properties on the market for rental? And down here, you're sort of seeing the days that it's on market. So, it's flattened right out. The days of 30 days and over gone up a little bit, which means we're finding a bit of a ceiling to the demand in rent. which is the pricing. That's normal. The prices go up and then people find like I can't afford to pay any more than that and sort of flattens out. But let's go to this one, which I think is pretty important to understand and see. The ratio, if you have a look at the ratio in the past of, the number of houses available for rent compared to the number of units, have a look how far the number of units. See how we've had quite a large amount of units available for rent for quite a long time in comparison to houses. And now you have a look at, it's pretty equal, folks, when it comes to the number of properties, when it comes to houses and comes to apartments. That's the units there. That's apartments there. So interesting times. What do we got ahead of us? I think we've seen the worst, let's call it. We've seen the worst of the normal problems, folks. That's what I'm saying, right? Don't get too carried away. Let's be honest with each other here, right? Are these abnormal problems? No. The interest rates going up, that's pretty normal. That is something that is reflective or reactive to other things, in the economy. Once things are under control, the interest rates flatten out and they go down. The cost of money ultimately always gets passed on to the end user, very unfortunately. And, all these politicians and governments saying they're going to put up taxes. Well, it takes 2 years and that just gets passed on to the end user. They keep making their constituents poorer by putting up taxes on the people who've got assets. It drives me insane. Anyway, it's circular. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. What about the ACT? ACT is fantastic. I got some property in the ACT. I'm pretty happy with it. The vacancy rate has gone up a little bit in the ACT of recent times, but still very low vacancy rate in comparison to the 3% neutral. Like an oversupplied market would be 3 to 4% vacancy rate, folks. So there you go. Anyway, that's it. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted, folks. A little bit ranty today. I saw you on there, Fenton. I'll call you right now. I've got to call you in just a moment. All right. That's it, folks. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Thanks for joining me today. Good to see you. Join me tomorrow. No, I won't be doing Wealth Coffee Chat tomorrow because I'm on an aeroplane to go visit Fenton. But I will do it the next day. And me and Fenton might do something, a little Wealth Coffee Chat. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom at 8:10 in the morning on a Thursday. Anyway, we won't drink wine at 8:10, but we might have a coffee together. There you go, folks. All right. Done. I think that's it. We're over and out. All of those sorts of things. See you, folks. Adios. Thanks for joining me. Bye for now.